This little gadget probably triggers the...
What?
Move out of the way, darling. That's right where it's going to land.
Don't. Let's go.
No, it just falls straight right down. Whew. Guess it's not spring-loaded.
I'm pregnant.
Wow. We're going to have a cub. Honey, that's great news.
If we're still alive tomorrow... If we're still alive tomorrow morning, I want you to find another line of work.
Okay.
We're getting right into the Mr. Fox.
It's I'm not a diehard Wes by any means.
That's the difference between you and me.
You are a diehard.
Yeah, I love Wes. I'm a big Wes fan.
You like the style.
I love his style. Hopefully, as we maybe do some more of these episodes, I can convince you.
You can sway me to your side. Well, I really like this movie.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that's awesome about Wes is the way that he controls the composition of what's on the frame.
Mm-hmm.
And so this and Isle of Dogs is like he can control everything. He can control every detail of how they move. He can control every single color. He creates the world, and he can even control like the timing of the dialogue, which is like a big piece of the quirkiness. So his ability to inflict his style is even more amplified because he doesn't have to like have an actor channel that.
He's not even limited by the actual laws of gravity. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
However he wants it.
And I really enjoy that.
I feel very similar about Wes Anderson movies a lot of times as I do Tarantino's movies, where while I'm watching it the first time, I'm kind of not liking it.
Okay.
And then as soon as the movie's over, I go, okay, that was actually really good.
Yeah.
And then once I have seen it once, if I watch it again, I can just thoroughly enjoy it the second time.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my little story about Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Okay.
This movie came out 2009. I was
12, somewhere in there.
Yeah. I have two cousins who were born within 2 weeks of me.
Okay. They were there or not?
But
They're just unrelated to the story.
No, they're in the story. I just wanted to tell you about my cousins real quick. They both wanted to see Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Okay.
I knew nothing about it. I just saw an animated movie. That's what they want to see. Great. I'll go.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the family went to see what was showing at the same time. Old Dogs with John Travolta and Robin Williams.
Okay.
As old men biker dads.
Okay.
I think they knew it was horrible because it did not even make it to the Walmart bins.
I've never heard of this movie.
Once it was out of theaters, it was off the face of the planet.
Okay.
And I've never seen it again.
Well, they're lucky then.
So we went to Fantastic Mr. Fox, me and my two cousins. So about 30 minutes in, I get up and walk out.
Wow.
And went to see Old Dogs. I walked into Old Dogs and found a seat next to my parents so that I could watch Robin Williams and John Travolta.
Did you feel satisfied with that choice?
I felt satisfied at the time. As soon as we got out of the movie, my two cousins were like, that movie was amazing. We loved it so much.
Wow.
And so then I was like, oh, dang it. I should have maybe gone back. I should have stuck it out.
It's surprising that 12-year-olds liked it, though. It is animated, but it's like such a... It feels like you have to understand like the nuance of how a normal phrase is said to understand, oh, it's funny that he just said that a little bit weird.
It feels like it's made for very little children who would just enjoy animals on screen or adults.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's made for kids and preteens as we were.
Yeah, tween. Okay, well, so that's going to take us to a segment here.
Okay, great.
The reason why you walked out of that theater, Wes Anderson has the most distinct style probably of all directors that are out there right now. You can watch 1 second of a movie and say either that looks like Wes Anderson or that is Wes Anderson. So Wes Anderson, he's fallen ill. There's a family emergency. He has to step away from this movie. This is fictional. This is fictional, yes. You have to replace him as the director. Who would you slot in to take the helm of this movie. The stipulation is, as directors do, the dialogue can change some.
Okay, a little bit.
It can change a lot even. The premise stays.
Mm-hmm.
Stop motion stays.
Okay.
Who is it for you?
When you think stop motion, my brain immediately goes to then the next stop motion person is Tim Burton.
Yeah.
I personally am not a big Tim Burton fan.
Yeah.
So
it would have been super weird and creepy.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like he's the man for the job, but I wouldn't have liked it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have put him.
Don't put him.
So I'm thinking through the story and trying to remove the Wes Anderson style from it.
Yeah. Kind of impossible.
Yeah. But thinking of the father-son relationship, the weird family dynamic,
mm-hmm.
and I think this movie has a lot of beautiful scenes
mm-hmm.
and very unique music
mm-hmm.
that fits Wes Anderson really well. But you could make these beautiful scenes more cinematic and put like this, entrancing, beautiful music to it. So that made me think of Minari.
Who's
Have
that?
you seen it? It's a movie.
Oh, a movie called Minari? No,
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
A movie called Minari. It's absolutely stunning.
Okay.
So the director of that is Lee Isaac Chung.
Okay.
So I'm not well versed in his other movies. I just know that one.
Okay. Congrats to him for being brought up during this podcast.
Way to go, Lee.
I've never heard of him. Okay, I'm also going to go kind of out of nowhere with my pick.
Okay.
I think that the things that are great about this movie are lost with Wes Anderson. So we've got to introduce something new that's great about this movie. It's going to become a musical. Okay. Bogus Bunsen Bean is going to get its whole number. It's 2009. There is a young man that's stewing on a project that's going to change the world. But instead he changed his mind.
You say Lynn.
It's Lynn. We're going to deprive the world of Hamilton. And we're going to put Lin-Manuel Miranda at the helm of Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I'm not totally upset about that pick. I think that it would be a completely different film.
Yeah.
But it would maybe work.
Yeah, I think it would work.
I'm just picturing Bogus Bunsen Bean put to the rap style of Hamilton.
Becomes a hip-hop musical.
The local human children sing a kind of eerie little rhyme about him. Here, listen to this.
Bogus Bunsen Bean, one fat, one short, one lean. These horrible groups are different in looks, but nonetheless equally mean.
Anyways, okay. So we've got our directors. We've got Chung, right? Is that his name?
Lee Isaac Chung. Yep.
Chung and Miranda. Okay, moving on. Going to take us to another segment. We're going to introduce a new segment. Listener, I gave Davis a heads up on this one, but we're going to go to our segment called Shortlist. We're going to throw out some categories, and we're going to decide whether or not Fantastic Mr. Fox is on the shortlist in that category, which we're going to define as being in the top 3.
So, okay. Top 3 George Clooney movies.
I put it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Honestly, George Clooney to me has not done that many movies where I'm like, that's awesome. Like, he's just always really cool. But this is probably number 2 for me behind Ocean's 11.
Yeah, I was going to say, it feels like Oceans is his biggest thing that I enjoy him in.
Yeah.
The work that he's done. I enjoy him in pretty much everything he does. It just doesn't mean that the movie's the best.
Right.
This would be on my top 3.
Yeah.
With Oceans as well.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Oceans and this movie, both stacked casts.
Yeah.
If we look at the cast of Fantastic Mr. Fox,
different type of group though.
Very different type of group. Wes has some of his faves.
Yeah.
He's got Jason Schwartzman, Bill Murray.
Yep.
He's got Willem Dafoe. He's got Owen Wilson. So he's got his boys in there.
Mm-hmm.
But also alongside George Clooney, Meryl Streep.
Yep. Shockingly.
You also have I feel like a couple other, here and there you might have seen him in something else. But Wes himself voices.
What?
Yeah. The Weasel. The realtor Weasel that sells him the house.
No way.
Yeah. I don't know
like
if
it.
he's ever done that in any of his other films.
Yeah.
I don't know if he voiced anything.
I definitely didn't know that. That's so funny. Let me throw this at you. Top 3 movie rat with Willem Dafoe.
Christopherson!
They got the boy. They want to trade the son for his papa.
I love Willem Dafoe's movie rat.
Here's my short list on this.
Okay.
Number 3, I'm going to say is Remy from Ratatouille.
Number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Number 2 is going to be Willem Dafoe's rat in this.
His security rat.
Uh-huh. And then number 1, it's going to be the rat from Dinner for Schmucks. And Steve Carell finds in the road.
Is that a rat or a mouse?
I'm calling it a rat. I'm classifying it as a rat.
Remy's for sure on there.
Yeah.
If we're going just rat characters,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I might even
You
put
throwing in Rupert from Flushed Away? Hugh Jackman?
no, but in actuality, the character I put from Flushed Away as maybe my number 1 rat of all time, Whitey.
Who's that?
He's the big bleached white the henchman mouse from that movie.
Okay.
So I would put Remy, Whitey, and fine. I'll put Willem Dafoe's
You needed
security
to.
rat on there.
They got the boy.
And he says, like liquid gold.
Oh, it's so
Oh,
funny.
his snap. He's scary. He's a scary rat.
Stop motion short list.
For sure.
There's really four big ones in my mind.
Okay.
In my mind,
I have
the big 4 are Fantastic Mr. Fox,
Mm-hmm.
Isle of Dogs,
Mm-hmm.
Coraline,
Mm.
and The Corpse Bride.
Okay. I take Tim Burton off the table.
Okay.
I've not seen Corpse Bride or Coraline.
Really?
Yeah.
Corpse Bride was disturbingly a common watch for me as a kid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Coraline maybe feels like something I need to see, but Tim Burton creeps me out.
I like Coraline.
My top 4. So I don't know where this would fall on the 3,
Mm-hmm.
but is Isle of Dogs and Fantastic Mr. Fox, like you've already said.
Mm-hmm.
Kubo and the Two Strings.
Never seen?
Ah, phenomenal.
Okay.
Number 1 for me
Oh, number 1 overall.
is Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were Rabbit. I
forgot about all
love
those
that
guys.
movie.
Oh, that's hilarious. Have you ever seen Early Man?
I started it in college while I was in bed and I fell asleep and I never got back around to finishing it.
I really enjoyed it. I saw it. I was the only one in the theater because it came out the same night as Avengers Infinity War.
You went to see Early Man instead of Avengers Infinity War. You were the only person in America who did that.
Me and my roommates.
That is a shocking thing to admit.
Oh. Okay. Any other short lists?
Would you put this on your top 3 Fox movies?
Gotta be. I'm trying to think if I can think of another one. The Fox and the Boy, is that one of them? Like the Disney animated? Is that what
Fox
it's
and the
called?
Hound.
Fox and the Hound.
Mm-hmm. I put that up on mine.
I don't care about it. It's number 1. It's not close.
Yeah. I think those are the only 2 Fox movies I can think. Foxcatcher.
There's that Robin Hood where he's a fox.
Oh, that's for sure top. Yeah. I go Fox and the Hound, Robin Hood. This
Why is he a fox?
Absolutely. In Robin Hood
Yeah.
because he's sly
Okay.
and he's darn handsome as that cartoon fox, if I say so myself.
Okay. Okay. Now let's get into the
Yeah.
into the meat here. Listener, here's a recap for you if you haven't seen Fantastic Mr. Fox in a while. Despite promising his wife to give up his thieving ways, Mr. Fox can't resist the thrill of one last big heist, a triple header. He concocts a plan to raid the farms of 3 notorious farmers, Bogus, Bunce, and Bean. However, the farmers retaliate fiercely, leading to an escalating battle between the humans and the animals. Mr. Fox must grapple with his desire for greatness and his line of work and the ways that this is a detriment to his family. In the end, perhaps he will find out how to become a fantastic Mr. Fox. There it is.
Beautiful.
That's our film. All right, here's where I want to head here.
Okay.
The idea that I want to talk about is the idea of workaholism, the idea of being a workaholic.
Yeah.
I want to define the idea of what it is to be a workaholic and what it isn't. Someone is a workaholic if their work and the status of their work affects their sense of self, and they continue to prioritize the benchmarks and the activities of work to the detriment of themselves and the people around them.
I would add to that too. You have a need beyond your control to keep doing that thing. And so the idea that like someone can't stop working, they can't put it away, they can't turn it off and, do other things.
Yep. Yeah. Before we move any further, I think it's helpful to establish like what is a biblical view of work in general.
Yeah.
So a workaholic is not somebody who works really hard. I think people can kind of say that. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just a workaholic. And that's just kind of code for like, I'm somebody who works really hard and care about my work. But if you look at Genesis 1 and 2, pre-fall, it is filled with work. God works. He commissions man to work. And this is all under the umbrella of the perfect world. The world has not experienced the fall, has not been broken yet. So work is a good thing. Work is a gift from God. We're created. Part of why we were created is to work the land and to subdue it, right? So work in and of itself is not bad or sinful. And in fact, we're called to work really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I do know that there are a lot of people who believe in the idea that like we were always made to work, and therefore in heaven, we will still have jobs.
Yeah.
We will still have things that we are called to do because God put that in us, that work is a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly believe that because if we're going to be restored back to the way things were in the beginning, work existed before there was brokenness in the world.
Yeah. So
to kind of talk about the other side of that and how work can become sinful, there's a quote here from a guy named Jeremy Pryor. He says, "Throughout history, men have been driven by the need to feel significant. They tend to ground their identities and put their greatest energies toward those things that provide them with that significance. In Western culture, in particular, we know that men tend to get their strongest identity from their work. Why is this? Why do we want to know about a man's job immediately upon meeting him and only much later ask about his family, if at all?" Goes on later to say, "Today a man could have an amazing career, leave his family in ruins, and still be considered a truly great man." So we have this emphasis on work and work as a identity that like we identify ourselves with our work. Like we are valuable because of what we do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So Mr. Fox, so the movie opens, and then he goes with Mrs. Fox to go raid the squab farm, right?
Whatever a squab is.
Should we go through the hole under the horse fence or climb the rail over the bridle path?
Well, I guess the horse fence would be a little safer.
Oh, but the bridle path puts us right out next to the squab shack.
Oh,
What's wrong? You're acting all skittish. Don't worry, I've been stealing birds for a living since before I could trot.
Essentially saying like, hey, I'm awesome at this. This is a part of who I am. Let me show you how this is done, pretty much. Then they successfully get the squab. They end up in the trap. And Mrs. Fox says, "I want you to get a new line of work if we survive this." And then it just zooms in on him and he goes, okay. Like he just does not want to at all. He has to get a new line of work. Mrs. Fox tells him so. And we cut forward, whatever it is, 12 Fox years later.
Does anybody actually read my column? Your friends ever talk about it?
of course. In fact, Rabbit's ex-girlfriend just said to me last week, I should read Foxy's column, but they don't get the Gazette. Ash, let's get cracking.
Why would they? It's a rag sheet.
You know, he's now a newspaper journalist, and he's still finding identity in his work. Later on, we see him whenever he's talking to the realtors. They say, hey, what do you do for work anyways? The first thing he says is, well, I used to steal birds, but now I'm a newspaperman, which is just one of those Wes, like, funny that he called himself that. That's part of his identity still, is I'm a thief.
I used to do this professionally, and I was very successful at it. I had to get out of it for personal reasons, but I've decided to secretly do one last big job on the sly. I'm bringing you in as my secretary and personal assistant.
Okay.
This is actually kind of a big deal, so don't just say, okay.
Okay, well, thank you.
Ultimately, Mr. Fox makes this decision that he's going to go and he's going to do what's not best for his family, what's not best for his community. He's going to go and, one last job, triple header. And we'll be right back.
Hey, listener, I've got one word for you, storyteller. Now I've got another word for you. You ready? Comforter. Now let's put those together. What do you get? That's right, Lexi Chase Media. Lexi Chase Media offers wedding photography or videography to capture the biggest moments of your life. Lexi Chase Media actually shot my wedding, and I've got to say those photos came out phenomenal, made our day better, made our memories better, and we still look at them today. We had considered hiring Lexi's competition, and no kidding, we dodged a bullet. Talk about getting this marriage off on the right note. Lexi Chase Media is offering 10% off services in 2024 when you tell her that the Credits Boys sent you. So go ahead and reach out with the link in the show notes today.
All right, back to the show.
There's a fun podcast that a friend turned me on to where they take movie characters and book characters and they try to dissect what Enneagram number they would be. And not that we would be experts or would do that, but I think that Foxy would be a 3 on the Enneagram, being that he is he defines himself and wants others to view him based on his accomplishments, based on what he has achieved, and he wants people to have a high view of him because he wants to do amazing things that impress people.
Yeah. We even see whenever Coach is talking to Ash, his son.
Am I getting better, Coach?
Well, you're sure as cuss not getting any worse.
Really? I mean, you think I could end up being as good as my dad if I keep practicing?
Your dad? Your dad was probably the best whack-bat player we ever had in this school. No, you don't want to have to compare yourself to that.
No, but I think I have some of the same raw natural talent, don't you?
You're improving. Let's put it like that.
Cuts over to the trophy case with like all of his ribbons and trophies and stuff.
Well, and it just has the trophy with all the champions or like all the best players, and it's just every year it's just him. It's just his name over and over and over.
I never noticed that.
But that's like a funny, fun, unrelated thing to the story, you know. But it does show us that in everything he does, he wants to do it to this high level ability so that, like he says later, that other people will think he's fantastic.
Yeah. There's this reference throughout the movie to, he keeps saying, I do this because I'm a wild animal. And I think what that means is I have this drive and this desire for greatness in me that I can't really control. This is kind of my wild side.
It's in my nature.
Oh, why'd you have to get us into this, Foxy?
I don't know, but I have a possible theory. I think I have this thing where I need everybody to think I'm the greatest, the quote-unquote fantastic Mr. Fox. And if they aren't completely knocked out and dazzled and kind of intimidated by me, then I don't feel good about myself. Foxes traditionally like to court danger, hunt prey, and outsmart predators, and that's what I'm actually good at. I think at the end of the day, I'm just...
I know. We're wild animals.
I guess we always were.
And so he has this natural kind of wiring that one, he has specific skills that he's good at.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he has this desire for excellence and for greatness. But where Foxy goes wrong is he wants to use those abilities and skills that he has and this desire for greatness for himself to be great. He wants to dazzle other people, right? He wants to do things so that he's seen.
Mm-hmm.
So Colossians 3:23 goes on to say, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. Kind of another reference would be John 12:43, talking about the Pharisees, says, for they loved the glory that comes from man more than the glory that comes from God. This desire to kind of like make a name for himself, right? In Genesis 11, the Tower of Babel, it says that their sin is described as they sought to make a name for themselves. They want to build this tower to make a name for themselves. They want to be remembered as, being great.
I feel like the desire to want to be great and want to receive praise for the work that we do and all of that is a very universally understood feeling. We want to do great things and be recognized for that.
Yeah.
What would you say, and what would the Bible say about why that's bad?
About why it's bad to seek praise from other people?
Yeah, I think that's such a human thing to like want praise.
I think there's a good desire and there's a sinful desire. I think there's a really good desire, God-given desire, to be excellent in the things that we do. Whatever we set our mind to, whatever we put our hand to, we want to do it with excellence because we're working for God, not for men. That is a God-given desire that we want to do great things. The place where it becomes twisted is whenever we're doing it to be seen by other people. Ecclesiastes 1:3-4 says, what does a man gain by all the toil at which he toils under the sun? A generation goes and a generation comes, but the earth remains forever. Regardless of whether he did become a fantastic fox, he's going to be forgotten. He ultimately would have ruined his family, destroyed his community, all for nothing, essentially. Yeah. He's seeking after this reputation that's going to be forgotten. Whenever we seek the praise of others, we begin to put our value into what other people say. And ultimately, that's something that's not going to be consistent for us. And eventually, that well of praise is going to dry up eventually.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think because our true identity is found in God, is found in Christ who created us, and we're also made to give praise. Like, we find beauty in things, we find quality in things, human beings. We were made to do that so that we would recognize God's glory,
right?
That we would see him for all of his glory and give him the praise.
Yeah.
And then I think God made that desire in us to receive praise from him.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole well done, good and faithful servant.
Yeah.
Like, we have a desire to hear that. But what sin does is it takes our nature and it takes what we were made to do and it skews it.
Yeah.
And so our desire to find beauty and to praise God, and that desire to want to receive compliment, receive honor from God, we skew and try to receive compliments and honor from other people.
12 fox years ago, you made a promise to me while we were caged inside that fox trap that if we survived, you would never steal another chicken, turkey, goose, duck, or squab, whatever they are. And I believed you. Why? Why did you lie to me?
Because I'm a wild animal.
You are also a husband and a father.
I'm trying to tell you the truth about myself.
I don't care about the truth about yourself. This story is too predictable.
Predictable, really? What happens in the end?
In the end, we all die. Unless you change.
And so, this drive that he has in him, he's saying, this is who I am. I want to be great, and so nothing else should matter. And she says, but you're a husband and a father. There's one thing that's the best thing for his family, and then there's the other thing that is going to make him feel like he's awesome. right? He's going to go out and he's going to rob these 3 farmers, and it's going to be legendary. And even if that hurts his family, he's going to choose to do that because ultimately he comes first.
Yeah.
And you see his son is watching him all this whole time. His son wants to tag along. Eventually, he talks to Christopherson and says, "You want to do something fantastic?"
Listen to me. I just had a brainstorm for something fantastic I've got to do, but I can't do it alone.
I'm not interested.
Hear me out.
No thanks. I think foxes from your side of the family take unnecessary risks.
Only because they got the guts in their blood. And so do we.
He uses the word fantastic, describing them going and breaking in to try to get his dad's tail back.
Yeah.
He sees the things that his dad values.
Wow.
And he tries to emulate that.
Yeah, he's mimicking it.
Right. Whenever he was working and doing things in a way that only benefited him, his whole goal was to be glorified. It brought destruction.
Yeah.
His whole community is destroyed. His family is almost killed. Ultimately, Christopherson is captured. It's at that point that Mr. Fox kind of has this awakening. He realizes that this one last job, he needs to use his skills that he has, this his wild, his animal nature, the things that he's really good at. He needs to use them for someone other than himself.
My suicide mission's been canceled. We're replacing it with a go-for-broke rescue mission.
Yeah.
And so instead of breaking in and stealing selfishly, he breaks in for a rescue mission. And so he takes his skills, his wiring, the things that he's awesome at, and he uses them for the benefit of others.
Yeah. Yeah. Philippians 2:3-4 says, "Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others."
Yeah. So 1 Timothy 5:8 says, "But if anyone does not provide for his relatives, and especially for members of his household, he's denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever." So this idea that a major function of why we work is to provide for others. He ultimately decides to use the things that he's good at and his desire for greatness for the sake of his family. John 15:13 says, listener, if you've listened to multiple episodes, you know this verse by heart by now. John 15:13 says, "Greater love has no one than this, that you would lay down your life for your friends." The turning point for Mr. Fox is whenever he is getting ready to go face the farmers. He waves the white flag in surrender, and he's giving himself up. He has a conversation with Ash, which is very sweet in the Mr. Fox kind of way. He's honestly a really terrible dad up until that point, like just kind of pointing out his son's flaws.
Yeah.
But then he's able to kind of get on his level, have an actual conversation with him.
Did I ever tell you about the time I learned we were going to have a cub?
In the fox trap.
Right. We were at gunpoint, and your mother...
Says she's pregnant.
Let me tell it, okay? I had no idea how we were going to get out of this jam, and then it hit me. What do foxes do better than any other animal?
Dig.
You're stepping on my lines.
Right, keep telling it.
So we dug, and the whole time I put paw over paw, scooping dirt and pebbles with your mother digging like crazy beside me. I kept wondering, who is this little boy gonna be?
Or girl.
Or girl, right, because at that point we didn't know. Ash, I'm so glad he was you. It's not your fault. It's mine.
I honestly can get kind of teary-eyed at that scene.
Yeah.
Because I think that so many kids and so many sons specifically would just absolutely kill to hear their dad say, "When we were pregnant with you and we didn't know who that son was going to be, and I'm so glad it was you."
Yeah.
Like, so many people would kill to hear that, and that's just such a powerful thing to hear from a dad.
Yeah.
And you see that once Mr. Fox understands to give that love, communicate that, and then once Ash has that, then right after that is when he does that crazy...
He's like finally able to do stuff.
Yes, he's like super powered, and he can do the whole whack pat thing.
Yeah, totally.
But it empowers everyone else around him when he puts himself second and elevates everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, Ash, his character the whole time as the son of the workaholic, he's looking for identity the whole time.
Yeah.
Like he does the dive off the branch, and he's like, "Dad, look at me." And then he, doesn't really look up from the newspaper.
Yeah.
But he gets all excited about Christopherson. He's like, do you see me as an athlete? Which obviously he knew that's something that his dad values, because that's something that his dad
was good at.
had in his past. Throughout, he's basically just looking for approval from his dad. But Mr. Fox is so caught up on his own stuff. He's looking at the newspaper because he wants to upgrade his house. He's going on this, the bandit mission with Kylie. He's like, get out of here. You're too small and uncoordinated. It's played for humor, but he's very unkind to his son,
harsh,
because he's really just thinking about his own goals. But at the end, once he kind of realizes his selfishness, is whenever the character of Ash is kind of unlocked. Whenever he's able to affirm and to speak identity into his son, and basically just say, hey, there's nothing that you have to work for here. Like, I love you because you're my son.
Yeah.
So powerful.
Yeah. Ultimately, he doesn't even, even in the beginning when he's being the sly fox and getting the weird birds and whatnot, the squab, he's like not even fully satisfied.
Yeah.
And we see even after he goes back to thieving again with Kylie, he's not complete. He is still doing what he thought he would do to make himself complete or feel satisfied, and he still has that moment of, I need everyone to think I'm fantastic. But when he puts himself aside, he loves his family, he cares for the people around him, he feels satisfied as it ends, with them dancing.
Right. He wants to be great so bad. And then it's at the end, whenever they're breaking into the supermarket, whenever he's looking out for his family, for others, his wife, for the first time, describes him as Fantastic Mr. Fox. Exactly what he was after all along, he's able to get.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's that message of using your skills, using your talent, using your work for the benefit of others.
Yep. And you see the ways that whenever he is serving and he's working in a way that is for his family, you see the way that it affects the relationships. Whenever Mrs. Fox tells him that she's pregnant at the end.
I'm pregnant again.
Wow. I think we're both glowing.
Mr. Fox starts glowing. Like they both are glowing this time. Whereas at the beginning, the first time she tells him, he kind of does like his cheesy fake smile thing. He's
when
like,
he's shocked.
Yeah. But you see the way that whenever he's serving and loving his family through his work, it draws him closer to them. He is more in love with his wife because he's taken this road of selflessness rather than just working for his own kind of glory.
Yeah, it's an act of love to put your needs aside and put the needs of someone else ahead of yours.
Yeah.
The ultimate verse for husbands is, Ephesians 5:25. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her.
Yeah.
Just the idea of, like, again, that, the verse we always say, but the ultimate form of love is to put someone else before yourself. I think that's a cool thing that you noticed, that he was looking out for himself and what he likes to do, which immediately in that first scene, it shows that he twice in a row gives his wife the option. Should we do this or that? And then when she says the other thing, he just ends up doing what he wants to do. And when he's living selfishly that way, and she says she's pregnant, that is a direct hindrance to what he wants to do.
Right.
And so he's not all that thrilled about it.
Yeah.
And when he learns to work to put his family and the needs of his family before himself, and he learns to use his skills and use his work for the benefit of them, then she says she's pregnant, and they both glow because he can be fully excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a takeaway that I think would not be helpful would be to just say, okay, I should then not care about my work. I should, where there's this whole other set of warnings in the scripture about what is called the sluggard, the lazy person, and that is not pleasing to the Lord either.
It would have been just as detrimental, if not more so, for him to continue selfishly serving himself, or for him to just back off and do nothing and stop working.
Yep.
Both would be detrimental to his family.
Yeah. And there's this scene at the end with the wolf across the way. Throughout the movie, Mr. Fox talks about his phobia of wolves.
Pensez-vous que l'hiver sera rude? I'm asking if he thinks we're in for a hard winter. He doesn't seem to know. I have a phobia of wolves.
And at the end, whenever he's confronted with kind of the manifestation of his wild side, the wolf, he eventually he comes to terms with he's okay with his wild side. He now has this view of, I get to still be great. Like, I can be the fantastic Mr. Fox that I wanted to be, but it's not the way that he thought it was, right?
Yeah.
It's not through elevating himself. He's elevated because of his service.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be afraid of trying to be great. We don't need to choose apathy instead of choosing to strive for greatness, but it comes through service.
Yeah. He doesn't have to just lay down and go back to being a newspaperman.
Yeah.
He ends up still being able to use his skills and abilities in a way that serves others. He still has to kind of, accept some limitations, which I think is important and cool that the movie does. As he's talking about the stuff in the grocery store, how it's not real, it's synthetic, but it's still good.
They say our tree may never grow back, but one day something will. Yes, these crackles are made of synthetic goose, and these giblets come from artificial squab, and even these apples look fake. But at least they've got stars on them. I guess my point is, we'll eat tonight, and we'll eat together, and even in this not particularly flattering light, you are without a doubt the 5.5 most wonderful wild animals I've ever met in my life.
I have to accept that things aren't going to be perfect.
Yeah.
But it's still good.
Yeah. Well, earlier in the movie, whenever they're in the tree, Mr. Fox says, "I'm tired of feeling poor. I want to move." Mrs. Fox says, "We're poor, but we're happy." And he has to come to terms with this idea of, I'm going to have to choose contentment. I'm going to have to be okay with what I have. And so I can either continue to strive and strive and strive and strive for more, or look at what I have and be thankful for it.
We're not just content with what we have here on earth, live out our life and die, and that's it.
Yeah.
We can be content with that for now, and then we have greater things ahead that we can look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kylie didn't get to come to terms with his phobia of
thunderstorms.
Yeah.
Maybe Mrs. Fox can paint him an awesome thunderstorm. And
I was thinking about that. That's so funny. That's a joke that lands after the movie's over.
Yeah.
Is the fact that Kylie brings up multiple times his phobia of thunder. Yeah. And it never
doesn't become anything.
Yeah, it never materializes into anything. It's just for him to say, because it's just what he's afraid of. And it's only after the movie that you're like, that had nothing to do with anything.
I like it. Good job, Wes.
Wes knocked it out of the park with this one.
Yep.
He knocked that flaming pine cone out of the park.
It's a goodie.
Yeah. All right. Roll credits.